Hello, everybody, and welcome on into Mounties Midweek. I'm Drew Patrick. On this episode, we introduce the new assistant baseball coach and preview the indoor track and field seasons. Plus, we reveal the play of the fall. This year, we had you, the viewer, vote each week for the top play of that week, and we took the winners, we placed them into a bracket to determine which is the play of the fall. The top two plays were teammates, going head-to-head in Christy Byers' game-winning shootout goal up against Olivia Wagner's playoff-clinching goal. The results are in, and this is your play of the fall. Driving forward into the circle. Leaks away, still fighting for it. A battle in. Dana Evans cranks it. Turnaround shot is in! That's a goal for the Mounties! Congratulations to field hockey's Olivia Wagner on the outstanding play and claiming that you have the play of the fall. Mansfield University baseball head coach Andrew Shalott announced the hiring of Anthony Goncalves as the next assistant coach with the baseball program on Monday, December 2nd. Prior to Mansfield, Coach Gong spent 4 seasons as the assistant baseball coach and recruiting coordinator at Jefferson University. He helped the Rams notch their best regular season in program history when the club finished second in the Central Atlantic Athletic Conference with an 11-9 conference record. He also helped the offense improve in every statistical category, improving the team's home run totals from 13 in 2015 to 54 in 2017. He coached 2 Player of the Years and All-American players and 5 All-Conference members and added 3 players that eventually went on to play professional baseball. Later in the show, we'll talk with Coach about his expectations of the season. The Mansfield University men's and women's basketball teams are calling for Mountaineer fans to wear black for the Wednesday, December 4th games against Roberts Wesleyan at First Citizens Community Bank Court at Decker Gymnasium. Tip-off is set for 5:30 p.m. for the women and 7:30 p.m. for the men. Let's take a look at what else is coming up this week for Mansfield Athletics.
Welcome to Forever, man. Let's go. Come on. This forever. No surrender. Yeah. You know that this right here forever. And there will be no surrender.
Do not go anywhere. Much more Mounties Midweek is on the other side.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
Get in the way and disrupt the situation.
Notify an authority.
Or walk them home safely.
We can change the language around rape.
We can make campuses safer for our teammates, our friends, and our classmates.
We cannot be bystanders.
Taking action isn't always easy, but it's on us
to intervene.
Because we can. Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
UPMC is a visionary hospital, cutting-edge research, all of the exciting things out on the edge of medicine.
There's a challenge every day, and there's the potential to help. When given the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, that's a tremendous feeling.
UPMC's interest in bringing the best there is in the science and research and bringing that bench side to the bedside is what makes a huge difference.
Life-changing medicine is not only medical treatment or surgical treatment, but giving patients hope.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's switch gears and talk men's basketball as we have Tyler Moff and Jameer Green at the desk. Thank you both so much for coming.
No problem, Drew. Thanks for having us.
So let's hop in the way back machine because it feels that way for the last time you guys had games. And let's talk about those first two PSAC crossover games. Starting with Seton Hill, it was a good win. What were some of the keys to that game?
I think in the beginning we kind of really turned it up on the defensive end. Just came out and just played hard on defense the first few minutes, and it was kind of hard for them to really get back into the game.
Yeah, I mean same thing. We played Seton Hill really well. Obviously we didn't go the way we wanted against Cal, but I mean it's early and we got a lot of stuff to work on. But it's a long season.
So with the Seton Hill and with really any road game, what is the key to trying to get off to that quick start and really take the crowd out of it if you can?
I would just say it's just like any other game, to be honest. It's all preparation. And I feel like for that Seton Hill game, we really prepared, very well. And the same with Kyle, we prepared the same, but we just couldn't, pull away with the win.
Yeah.
So with the Cal game, we asked what were the keys. What were some of the things that really went wrong there in that Cal game that you guys couldn't get going?
For Cal, I mean, Cal's a good basketball team. I mean, we are too. It's hard for any team to go on the road and play two back-to-back games. I think we had a good scout for them and whatever. It just didn't go our way. We didn't play well that night. I think it was more energy than anything.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. They definitely had a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So, of course, coming into this year, both of you guys have dealt with a little bit of adversity. Tyler, you coming back from injury. Jameer, you missed last year with a red shirt season. What has been, talk about those hardships and trying to overcome that, and what has been your transition back? It was a completely different team, really, that you played with the last time you were out here.
Last year was real hard for me, but, I was still there, supporting my guys at every home game I could. And this year, I would just say, the transition is just getting used to the new guys. But, they're great. Yeah. And, we're just glad to have them.
Me just stay healthy. Obviously, I had a little injury. I was fighting a little something earlier in the year. But I'm just taking it day by day right now and just ready to win some games.
Yeah, definitely.
So those new faces that are on this group that you guys are both working with, what have they really added to your group?
I would say Trev, definitely added some size for us. We were pretty small last year. And Christian, he just brings a lot of energy. I love him.
Yeah, everybody's a piece of the puzzle. They're all great guys. They bring different types of personality. It's always fun being with them on the road, whatever it is, playing with them. So, yeah, we got a great group of guys this year.
So, of course, Monday's game, you guys were supposed to have a game yesterday. And then, of course, that lovely thing called snow got in the way there. Is there a tough challenge, really, for you guys to turn on that switch or turn off that switch, rather, to be like, we had a game, it's now not going, we have to focus on the next one? Is that an easy switch to make?
Yeah, I feel like it's an easy switch. Obviously, we were very upset. We all wanted to play, especially we had that little break. We've been sitting on a loss for over a week. Yeah. So everyone was really excited to play. But, I mean, we're just thinking about the next game now. Like, it's over with, so we're just going to prepare for Wednesday and come out with a lot of energy.
Yeah, just got to stay ready.
Yeah.
So the games that are on the schedule for this week now, of course, it's going to be a raucous crowd, the blackout game against Roberts Wesleyan, who in the past couple of years has maybe slowly turned into a bit of a rivalry, a non-conference rivalry for you guys. So in those terms of a rivalry game, what do you have to do to make sure that you're focused on what you guys need to do?
We just need to come up with some energy from the jump. You know, it's our opportunity to get our first home win. So,
I mean, every game to me is a rivalry. So, like, I mean, we're just going to come out with energy. Like I said, we're excited to play. We had like a week off, so, you know, we're ready to get to it.
So what are some of the things, maybe you haven't really had the full chance to break them down, but from Roberts Wesleyan, what are some of the things you expect them to come out with, and how are you going to counter that?
They're going to come out and play with a lot of effort. They move the ball well. Obviously, their record isn't that great, but they're a good team, and they're going to come out and play like a good team, so we just got to be ready.
And then it doesn't get any easier come Saturday. Not only are you guys preparing for finals, but you also have a nationally ranked team coming into town in IUP. What do you expect from that team, and what is going to be the key to get the upset at home?
They're going to come in, you know, playing hard, and we just have to do the same thing. Nobody's expecting us to win, but I feel like we're capable of, you know, beating any team in this conference any given night. So we just come out, execute our game plan, you know, we should come out with that win.
I would say defense. I feel like that's what we've been missing for the past couple games. Obviously, still early in the season. But once we get our defense in check and we start really playing hard on the defensive end of things, like that blue-collar defense we want to play, I think we'll be a playoff team and we'll be able to compete with any team in the PSAC.
What are some of the ways that you do get the defense back on track? Because you said that was maybe the point thus far in the year that has been a little lacking. What are the steps to right that ship?
It starts in practice. They've been pushing defense a lot, and I think that's been a good thing, but we just got to step our game up defensively.
Yeah, I would say just more communication out there on the field.
Yeah.
And that comes from me and Todd, you know, as well. So, yeah, just because we had a lot of miscommunication or a few losses that we took. So,
yeah,
just talking more out there on the court.
Well, it should be a fun week. Thank you both so much for stopping by.
Thanks for having us, Drew.
And Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
UPMC is a visionary hospital, cutting-edge research, all of the exciting things out on the edge of medicine.
There's a challenge every day, and there's the potential to help. When given the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, that's a tremendous feeling.
UPMC is interested in bringing the best there is in the science and research, and bringing that bench side to the bedside is what makes a huge difference.
Life-changing medicine is not only medical treatment or surgical treatment, but giving patients hope.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub, with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's talk women's track and field as we have head coach Tim Makinich joining us here at the desk. Coach, thanks for stopping by.
Drew, thanks for having me.
So we are creeping towards the start of the indoor track and field season. And before we get into this first meet coming up, let's talk about the true challenges of trying to train here in the Northeast when the weather is the way it is. What are some of the tricks that you guys have to do to really fight the weather?
Well, for my events, a lot of equipment is involved. So we transfer everything from the track down to KFC to do our workouts down there. To be honest, the KFC staff works great with us. We can set up just about everything that we need. So we'd love to have an oval. It'd be great. But to be honest, we've got what we need down there with an elevated runway for pole vault. We can set up our high jump pit with or without spikes. We've got runways to set up for sprinters. So we really have everything that we need. It'd be great to be on the track when we can. With a foot of snow makes it a little bit tougher. But yeah, we make do pretty well, I think.
So what are some of the things you focus on early in the season for your group, and what are the main keys here before the first meet that where your main focus is?
For myself, it's always the strength gains. We're in the weight room 4 days a week. One of those days is kind of a recovery day, but we hit it pretty hard 3 days. So we're working on building that strength and getting ready more so for January. The December meets kind of get our feet wet a little bit, break off some of the rust. And for the freshmen, it's all brand new to them. Most are pretty scared going into that first meet, even though they've run plenty of track meets in high school. They just feel it's so much different. And we'd go to some meets that are challenging, especially in January.
And not all, but some of the freshmen, of course, maybe have never done indoor before. So what are the subtle differences between an indoor training or even an indoor meet and an outdoor meet?
The big thing is the weather. I mean, really, you're dealing with a lot of wind, obviously, in the outdoor meets. And with our earlier outdoor meets, we're talking March. Yes, we travel south, go into Virginia, but you still never know what you're going to hit. We've been in southern Virginia before and still had snow. So you never know what you're going to get there. At least in the indoor, everything is nice and consistent. So I don't think there's too much of a difference there. For vaulting, a bar's a bar, so no big deal there. Same thing with our high jump. Sprinters, you're running against the clock. Don't worry too much about those that are around you. And we're just trying to get best marks.
So this week, Bucknell coming up, not too far of a trip for these guys. We talked about early focuses, but this first meet, what are your expectations for your group?
Really, we talked about it this morning. I'm not real concerned with if a bar gets cleared. I'm not real concerned with what the time is on the clock. It's the little things. Was our start strong? Was our technique solid off of the ground? The other stuff will take care of itself. Like I said, these first two meets, we're just easing into it. If we have some great performances in conference marks, great. We'd love to hit those. We'd like to see all the girls hit a mark where we take that pressure off, and now it's just working on the subtleties for the remainder of the indoor season, working in towards Edinburgh.
So who are some of the athletes that really we should keep our eyes out for, who you expect to have a big season?
Well, Lindsay obviously is going to have a great season. Coming off of cross country, she was strong all season, so she should be very good there. Erin Sheridan had a little bit of a rough year, sophomore year, so I'm expecting her to bounce right back. Her strength gains in the weight room have been fantastic so far. We've got some freshmen that are coming in this year that did great during cross country season. Riley is our new pole vaulter, so we'll wait to see. But she was pretty strong in high school. I know she's a little nervous coming into her first meets, but I do expect some good things.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck this weekend, and thank you so much for joining me.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks.
Mounties Midweek continues after this. Do not go anywhere.
From court to court and lane to lane under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours. the home of Division II college sports.
Changing medicine is not only medical treatment or surgical treatment, but giving patients hope.
UPMC brings so much to the table. They're just a comprehensive visionary system.
UPMC is innovative and always on the cutting edge of technology.
Defining not only healthcare, but health.
Its expertise, its focus on patients and what is best for patients.
As UPMC, we're able to elevate the standard of care. Just a wonderful opportunity.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's talk men's track and field as we have head coach Mike Roll joining us here at the desk. Coach, thanks for stopping by.
You bet, anytime.
So let's talk about the challenges. Of course, if you look at the weather outside, it is not great for training on a track right now. So what are the challenges of training for an indoor track season with the weather being as it is here in the Northeast?
The challenges really are just logistical in nature, and making sure that I'm coordinating with the appropriate facilities people to get to where we need to do the training, and then to be flexible with the kinds of training we're doing. So we have really good support both from our grounds crew and from the fitness center. Amy Delosier does a great job accommodating our needs, and so we don't miss much. We've had some really good successful indoor athletes. Mike Robinson was national runner-up training on treadmills. Chris Cummings was a national runner-up training on treadmills. And then we get the kids some gear that they can wear outside. And when we get outside, if the track is clear, then we go out as often as we can. So the challenges are there, but they're nothing that we can't overcome. And plus, I've been doing this for 18 years, so I figured out systems to be successful.
So here early on in the season, too, what are your main focuses? We obviously have the meet coming up this weekend, which we'll talk about. But what are your focuses for your athletes early on in the season in preparation? For the distance runners, they're coming off of the cross-country season. They're in a transition, and the style of training changes more from long distance, 10,000 meters, 8K, where they're all doing the same thing, to middle distance and then distance runners. Mm-hmm. So that transition takes place in November, and their fitness levels drop a little bit. For the sprinters, they're actually coming up in their fitness because they've been preparing since September. We've done a couple of time trials, which have looked really promising. Mm-hmm. But the main thing that I've been working with is getting them to become cohesive in terms of their support for each other. The cross-country kids come in first. They bond right away. They're close. They work out really hard. They're not training at the same time as the sprinters. And then to try to bring them together and do things together because they have to run relays together, obviously, and especially like a distance medley where I have some sprinters and I have some distance runners. So our primary focus is just making sure that we get through this fall semester with the distance runners coming back up in fitness, the sprinters ready to go, and make sure everybody's healthy, which right now everyone is. Mm-hmm. So, too, with the early season focus, so then that in terms of training is your focus, but here coming up this first week, Bucknell is the first meet. Not a far trip, which is nice, but what are your focuses in the early meets, the meets before the new year changes?
Well, it really is about fitness evaluation. It's a chance for me to look at what we've done with the sprinters, to see if they've made progress compared to where they were a year ago. It's tough to compare, like if you go down to Bucknell and the kids run, they went like, I didn't run a PR. Well, you ran your PR in May on an outdoor track. So we try to teach them about the differences between indoor and outdoor. A lot of the PA kids don't do indoor coming out of high school. And for the distance runners, we're looking for them to get a good mile and a good 3,000, just kind of get
find out where their speed assessment is, and then give them training for the break to come back for the second half of the season. Make sure that the training that we give them is appropriate. One caveat to that is the sprinters have good weather all fall. And we were training outside right up before they left for break. And so we did time trials outside. So they're fit and they're ready to go. So the expectation is a couple of them or several of them will get qualifying marks, which will allow them to relax and focus on their training and preparation for the conference meet, because that will be out of the way. So
you mentioned something about the subtle nuances and especially freshmen who are transitioning, and you mentioned that they maybe have not had any indoor experience in their high school career. What is the challenge, and is there really a big challenge for them to get them to understand the subtle nuances of the indoor track?
Well, interestingly, getting them to the indoor track meet is less of a challenge than teaching them how to run at 15 miles an hour on a treadmill without flying off the back. So they don't always understand that an indoor track is going to be 1.1 to 1.2 seconds slower than an outdoor track on a 400. I have to really it takes them about a year of seeing the conversions from a flat track to a bank track to a 300-meter track to an outdoor track before they really grasp that. So the thing that I try to do is make sure that I get them into their first events and make sure that they're not overwhelmed. Also, I don't want them to win too easily because I don't want them to get a big head. So we try to get them in a position where they can be competitive, not overwhelming the competition, but also not getting destroyed. Because, a freshman quarter miler, if he draws a heat with the senior and he's running 47 seconds, the senior is, that's 3 seconds if a guy's running 50 point. And 50 point is good to start, but that's also 30 meters down the track.
Yeah.
So getting them in there, kind of getting a perspective of them. Of course, one of the other challenges too with freshmen, and we have a lot of freshmen this year, is that they're used to going to a high school meet and racing themselves into shape. Mm-hmm. They get to go 2 or 3 meets, and then they run 3 or 4 races, and a lot of times we only run 2. Most of our kids have run 4 races every meet their entire career. And when I tell them we're not doing that, that usually gets to be like, why? But I can do that. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need you to do that. Mm-hmm. Like, we're not trying to win a dual meet here. So, but yeah, so we just get them out there and expose them.
So we talked about preparation. We talked about this first meet. Who are some of the faces that you want to introduce us to right now? Who are some of the people you think could have stellar seasons?
Well, one of the young men from the freshman year is a name that's easily recognizable because he's the standout football player of the year as a freshman, and that's Terrence Quaker. Mm-hmm. And Terrence is a scholarship quarter miler for us, and he is probably going to be an all-conference athlete at some point in his career here in the next couple years. So you're going to see a lot with him, and he looked really good coming off of football. He's our 3rd fastest guy, which, the other guys have been doing track work specific, and he just came out and ran his time trial, and I was like, well, we're glad you're here. I think you're going to see a lot from our junior college transfers, particularly Sean Ringgold and Donovan Cook. Who really came in from the Community College of Philadelphia. Very mature athletes, automatically took over as leaders, really helped structure what we're trying to do with the sprints culture. And of course, we have Mo coming back from last year, and he's even stronger than he was last year. And then on the freshman side, we have Ramdy and Henry from Hazleton. And they're both looking really good. So I think those guys are really gonna, there's gonna be some people are gonna be eyes popping at Bucknell, I think, because if they're fit and they're healthy and they're having a lot of fun with it. On the distance side, we're gonna carry Christian, Christopher, Kevin. Jacob Getchell is healthy now and back running. We missed him the whole cross-country season. those 4 freshmen made a pretty good impact in cross country. Now we're really going to focus on the track side. And I think Christian Tanner is going to be something else in the mile. He's got quite the kick. We're talking Chris Cummings, Mike Robinson level kick. The other guys are going to be stronger in the 5,000, and so I think they're going to make a pretty good impact. And at least for this month of December, we still have leadership in Jordan Holmes, who's still going to be able to run 2 more meets before he graduates. He's not ready to leave, he said. He just wants to keep running. And then, of course, we have Travis, who's a veteran of these meets and provides a lot of guidance.
Well, Coach, we're looking forward to it this weekend and all season long. Well, thank you so much for stopping by.
Appreciate that. I'm glad to be here.
Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
Get in the way and disrupt the situation.
Codify an authority.
Or walk them home safely.
We can change the language around rape.
We can make campuses safer for our teammates, our friends, and our classmates.
We cannot be bystanders.
Taking action isn't always easy, but it's on us
to intervene.
Because we can. Learn more and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
UPMC is a visionary hospital, cutting-edge research, all of the exciting things out on the edge of medicine.
There's a challenge every day, and there's the potential to help. When given the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, that's a tremendous feeling.
UPMC's interest in bringing the best there is in the science and research and bringing that bench side to the bedside is what makes a huge difference.
Life-changing medicine is not only medical treatment or surgical treatment, but giving patients hope.
Welcome back here to Mounties Midweek. Let's introduce a new face here on campus at Mansfield, the new assistant baseball coach, Anthony Goncalves. Thank you so much for stopping by.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
So, Coach, let's talk about that. What were the things that brought you here to Mansfield? What were some of the things that you saw that you're like, this is the program that I want to help?
Well, first, being a part of the PSAC conference, which in my opinion is the best conference in Division II baseball, having an opportunity to continue my career and get involved with the PSAC conference, and when I saw the opening and I gained my interest right away, and after talking to Coach Shalat and meeting everybody here, this is a place that I wanted to really go. And after talking to Coach Shalat, we thought this would be a good opportunity, and I'm excited to finally be on campus and get on board and get things started.
Yeah, and you mentioned it in terms of rebuilding the program. This program has had a couple of down seasons in the past seasons. So what is your coaching philosophy, and what are some of the things that you really want to focus on, especially to try and build this program back to where it was?
Well, first and foremost, it starts with the players on the current roster. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I can't wait to meet. Learn about the guys. And the one thing I'm going to tell them is I'm going to try to do my absolute best to make their experience better here, especially the seniors. Mm-hmm. I'm not talking about championships and all that. I just want to play good baseball. I want their careers to end right. And then philosophy-wise, it all starts with recruiting. You got to find kids that are going to fill, the empty spots that we're going to have after this year. You're going to have to find kids that are going to fill in what your philosophy, what your vision is. Obviously, everybody wants the 6'3", 6'4" projectable guy, but you're going to find, my job and coach's job is to find the kids that are going to fit what we're trying to do here at Mansfield. And then from there, you got to develop them. That's the other important thing about, coaching is the recruiting side. And once you do have them on campus, is develop them. And hopefully in a couple recruiting classes we put together, we could start competing for a PSAC championship.
Yeah, absolutely. In your past a couple of spots before Mansfield, what were your key focuses there? And what were some of the things you learned in your last couple of spots that you think can really translate to helping here at Mansfield?
So my first coaching job was Misericordia University in Dallas, Pennsylvania. Town a little bit bigger than Mansfield. It was kind of the same situation. It was tough to get kids on campus. And we just had that same group that everybody kind of bought in what we were trying to do. And we won that first championship. And then after that, kids always want to go to a winning program. So we ended up winning a couple more, and then I ended up coaching at Arcadia University, which was a reality check for me because it was a different type of school outside of Philadelphia. You're going to recruit different type of kids, and the first year we struggled. We only won 9 games, and in the following year we won 20 games, and we got our type of kids in that program that we wanted. And then my last coaching stop was Philadelphia University, now known as Jefferson University. Division II school, very limited with certain things that they do comparing to the other schools in the conference. And I learned right off the bat that now I have scholarship money to play with. And, it's very similar to what the situation is here at Mansfield. Kind of had some down years. They wanted to get back into postseason, and we brought in those kids, the kids that fit into what we were trying to do. Kind of the same blueprint I used at Misericordia and Arcadia, and that's what we plan on doing here at Mansfield. Use our connections, coach and I's from all over Pennsylvania and even the junior college ranks to bring in the right kids.
How important do you think, because you mentioned how important recruiting is, the fact that you have coached here in Pennsylvania, the areas here in Pennsylvania, hot spots, how much does that help you in terms of recruiting? Pennsylvania
is probably a gold mine when it comes to baseball. You go everywhere from Erie, Pennsylvania, down to Westchester, Pennsylvania, or Philadelphia. There's baseball, and there's a lot of baseball. And I think what separates Pennsylvania from the other states is there's good baseball people that are teaching it. My experiences with my last 3 stops, I had to recruit in all of those different areas. So Mansfield, being a PSAC school and academically what it offers, it shouldn't be a problem to bring in those kids. But it is so important. You can't have a bad class in the PSAC. You have a bad class, it's going to hurt, not the following year, but down the road. So recruiting is crucial every single year, making sure that we have a strong class going forward and we have an idea. And we have to get ahead of the following class a year early. Make sure we ID those guys so we get ahead of some of those other schools.
Another thing that I'm sure you're familiar with as well, coaching in Pennsylvania, is the weather is not always the kindest to us here. So what is your strategy? Obviously, we have the gym where a lot of our guys are practicing, but when you look outside like today and there's a foot of snow on the ground, what is your challenges and how do you approach those challenges when the weather doesn't cooperate?
Well, first, we go back to the recruiting side of things. Everybody would love a kid from Texas or Florida, but I've coached those kids. It usually takes a year or so for those kids to get used to the Northeast weather. But the current kids, you just got to have tough kids, and I think it all starts with, coach and I, and if they see that we're cold, they see that we're struggling, they're going to do the same thing. You got to be creative. You got to think outside the box. It's not just us, it's every school, Division I, Division II, Division III in the Northeast. You got to get creative what you're going to do indoors. I'm a guy that likes to keep things fresh. The kids might get bored inside. Well, coaches get bored too. We got to keep doing things, thinking outside the box. It might be one day where we're in a cage doing something, and then the next day we'll completely flip the script and we'll do a lot more agility stuff, or we'll work on defense picks. We just got to keep things fresh indoors. And as long as the snow's off the turf, we're going to try to be outside. I know Coach, that's what he wants to do, and defensively, there's no better way than being outside. And you got to get used to the weather anyway.
So with that too, another thing is, what are your main focuses too here early in the season? Obviously, this is like your first week, so you haven't really had a chance to work with everyone. But early in the season and in this winter time going into the spring, what are some of the things that you want to focus on and that you have focused on with the athletes early on?
Again, I want to meet the guys. I want to know what type of kid they are, what's the pros and cons, of the last couple of years, and how they like to do certain things. And then, plan on doing it either today or tomorrow, kind of introduce myself, what I look for in a player, how I am as a coach. And I want to keep things simple. Baseball is such a hard game, score more runs than the other team. If it's the long ball, small ball way, offensively, we're going to do whatever it takes to score more runs than the other team. Defensively, we got to communicate, and we got to just put ourselves in the right position to make plays. You're going to fail. You're going to make errors. You're going to strike out. You're going to get into slumps. But my job is to kind of make sure our guys have confidence going into the first game, and throughout the season, try to stay even keel. We don't want to go down and then high, down. We want to stay even keel. One of the things that I want our guys to be, you don't know if we're down 10 or up 10. We're going to play hard every time, and just stay simple. Make things simple, make things easy for the guys, and, we'll see how it goes.
I guess one of the challenges that you'll face, you and Coach Shalato face, is obviously your regime is replacing, in a way, I know Shalat was part of that regime, but a regime that has been the most successful regime in probably Mansfield athletics as a whole. Do you address, or how do you address, the shortcomings of the last couple of seasons without trying to dwell on what has happened in the last couple of seasons?
Well, that's something you hear what the players have to say about that. And again, you want to make the seniors this last year memorable. What does it take when I ask a kid to play for Mansfield? What do they want it to be? And my goal is to try to do that, try to help them do that. If that's win a championship, that's win a championship. Or if that's, we get into the playoffs, or if that's beating some of the top teams, I'm going to try to do my best at that. And my whole focus as a coach and my philosophy is just get better every day. I don't care about what's going on outside of Mansfield. We just got to get better. We got to worry about ourselves, get better each day, and I like to say get better 1% every day. If you do that, we're going to be fine, and the program will head in the right direction.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
Mounties Midweek rolls on after this. Do not go anywhere.
UPMC is a visionary hospital, cutting-edge research, all of the exciting things out on the edge of medicine.
There's a challenge every day, and there's the potential to help. When given the opportunity to make a difference in someone's life, that's a tremendous feeling.
UPMC's interest in bringing the best there is in the science and research, and bringing that bench side to the bedside, is what makes a huge difference.
Life-changing medicine is not only medical treatment or surgical treatment, but giving patients hope.
From court to court and lane to lane, under the lights or under the sun, no one delivers Division II sports like NCAA.com. The center of D2 is inside the NCAA.com hub. with exclusive highlights of every sport and live broadcasts of every Division II championship found nowhere else. Make NCAA.com yours, the home of Division II college sports.
Thank you all so much for watching all season long. Mounties Midweek will return in 2020, but until then, to stay up to date on all things Mansfield Athletics, head over to GoMounties.com. Have a safe and happy holidays.